If one were to choose the greatest and most mysterious architectural work of mankind, the pyramids would undoubtedly be a strong contender. Along with mummies and sphinx statues, the Grand Pyramids of Egypt are a favorite theme in movies, adventure stories, and horror tales. The Pyramid of Giza, believed to have been built at least 12,000 years ago, predates the existence of ancient Egyptians and is likely the work of a prehistoric civilization. To this day, there is no official, fully accurate answer to the mysteries of the pyramids. It's no coincidence that the Pyramid of Giza, the highest and last remaining of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, stands in the highest position and is the last remaining wonder. The loopholes. Conventionally, it is believed that the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids at Giza around 2500 BC, but this argument reveals several flaws. Firstly, scientists estimate that the Egyptians would have had to use about 2.4 million stone blocks, each weighing between 2 to 4 tons, and some even weighing up to 250 tons. Amidst the vast desert, how could the ancient Egyptians transport these stones to construct such colossal pyramids? Various hypotheses and conjectures have been proposed to explain this mystery, but from an architectural and construction perspective, these methods are not entirely convincing. Secondly, the Giza Pyramid complex was designed and built entirely differently. They do not have an internal frame system, but the precisely measured stone blocks provide stability and durability for the pyramids. These pyramids also lack religious symbols or inscriptions inside, arousing suspicion that they were not built by the ancient Egyptians, who always carved characters in their tombs. Furthermore, at first glance, one might think that the pyramid has 4 sides, but in fact, it has 8. The Pyramid of Giza, from the base to the top, has a concave line down about 0.5 to 1 degree, dividing the surface and creating a special pyramid surface with 8 unusual sides. This is a technique that we would struggle to replicate with our current level of scientific and technical knowledge. Thirdly, the location of the Giza Pyramid complex is extremely special. It is located precisely at the intersection of the longest latitude and longitude in the world. This means that the Pyramid of Giza is located at the center of the land on Earth. Moreover, the 3 largest pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, not only align perfectly with each other on the ground, but they also align with the 3 stars in the belt of the Orion constellation. Astronomers also point out that the Giza Pyramid complex points exactly to the North Pole of the Earth. To this day, despite being built thousands of years ago, it is the most accurate north-facing structure in the world. The question is, how could ancient humans over 2,000 years ago have such accurate positioning and observation levels? Hypothesis. Furthermore, archaeologists have discovered that the sediment layer is 4.3 feet thick. Sediment layer around the base of the pyramid contains many fossil shells, dating back nearly 11,600 years. This implies that the pyramids and the Sphinx must have been built at least 12,000 years ago, and it may have existed there before the start of the Ice Age. According to Professor Mark Lehner, this significant difference in time also means that these giant tombs were not built by the ancient Egyptians. It should be added that according to the World Civilization History book, it was discovered that when rusty coins were placed inside the pyramid, they became shiny again after more than a month. They also put a cup of fresh milk into the pyramid, and after a month, it did not change color or taste. Fresh fruit brought in there for half a month was still fresh. not dehydrated or shriveled. Therefore, it is very likely that the ancient Egyptians simply discovered the excellent preservation ability of this structure, so they brought the mummies into it. They then studied, researched, and built some smaller versions. An interesting point to mention is that archaeologists have discovered many remains of giant human species dating back 12,000 years, coinciding with the time believed to have built the Great Pyramid all over the world. Their height, when alive, was determined to be around 412 meters. With this height, pyramids seems to be just like us humans today building high-rise buildings. So who built this structure? On this issue, the two historians believe that these giant structures could have been built long ago by an advanced ancient civilization, possibly Atlantis, which was eventually destroyed by a great flood. Professor Mark Lehner said, "I have conducted some research and found a connection between the pyramids and a sunken continent. It could be Atlantis. When Atlantis sank, they dispersed everywhere. It is possible that some people evacuated to Egypt, and of course, they had the level and technological capabilities to build the pyramids as we have seen. No one else could do this. It requires very high technology. The three smaller pyramids at Giza could have been built by the Egyptians because they could have been built by humans. However, to say that the largest pyramid, with 250,000 stone blocks, some of which weigh up to 250 tons, was built by the Egyptians is completely unreasonable. We can't even move them with all the equipment we have now. So the civilization we are talking about is even much more advanced than us currently. The existence of prehistoric civilizations, the existence of other advanced civilizations before this civilization of ours, is not entirely hypothetical. Archaeologists have discovered many strange relics and artifacts that prove this point. For example, in June 1968, American collector William Master found a 5 centimeter thick stone on which was a fossil of a human shoe print, along with another very special trace, a fossil of a trilobite being crushed. This confuses scientists because trilobites are creatures that disappeared at the end of the Permian period about 252 million years ago. How could humans step on a creature that disappeared hundreds of millions of years ago, especially a human wearing shoes, a clear sign of civilization, a fossil shoe print dating back hundreds of millions of years? How can all this be true? According to common knowledge, Galileo Galilei invented the telescope in 1609 in Italy, but a 30,000-year-old stone found in Peru was carved with a modernly dressed human holding a telescope, observing constellations, planets, and comets. Some stones even depict scenes such as blood transfusion, organ transplantation, and modern childbirth, which, according to the theory of evolution, cannot be explained. In another impressive example, in 1972, a French factory imported uranium ore from the Republic of Gabon in Africa. To their surprise, engineers discovered that the uranium had been used, and they went to the site for inspection. The result was the discovery that the location of the ore sample was a large nuclear reactor that existed 1.8 billion years ago and operated for nearly 500,000 years. The structure of the reactor is modern and arranged so reasonably that humans today cannot construct it. There are many other unexplained ancient ruins scattered all over the world. Many brave scientists have admitted that there were various prehistoric civilizations that existed and disappeared many times in long history. Finally, the truth about our origin seems to be completely different from the usual explanations through textbooks, that we are the only modern civilized humans ever on this earth, and we evolved from ape man. Only those who dare to rise above these defining perceptions accept and rationally consider archaeological discoveries and achievements can truly perceive the real truth. Born in Egypt around 1341 BC with the name Tutankhamun, meaning living image of Aten, this king ruled Egypt as pharaoh under the name Tutankhamun for 10 years until his death at the age of 19 around 1324 BC. In the general scientific community, and specifically in archaeology, the character of King Tutankhamun is a typical mystery without a solution. So who was Tutankhamun, and the mysteries of his life until his death, buried for thousands of years, are still being brought to light? Genetic testing has confirmed that King Tutankhamun was the nephew of the great pharaoh Amenhotep III and almost certainly the son of Akhenaten, also known as Amenhotep, a controversial figure in the history of the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom in Egypt, about 1295 to 1550 BC. His mother is believed to be one of Akhenaten's sisters. At the time of his birth, ancient Egypt was undergoing major social and political upheavals. His father, Akhenaten, had banned the worship of many gods and only supported the worship of the single god, Aten. For this reason, he is called the heretical king. When the people were forced to worship Aten, the abrupt religious conversion plunged society into chaos. The capital was moved from Thebes to Amarna, and Akhenaten, engrossed in the religious conversion process, neglected domestic and foreign issues. As the power struggle between the old and the new increased, Akhenaten became more autocratic and his regime increasingly decayed. After 17 years of rule, he passed away. Some scholars believe that he was forced to abdicate and died shortly thereafter. Tutankhamun, then only 9 years old, took over his father's throne. That same year, he married his half-sister, Ankhesenaten. According to records, the young couple had 2 daughters, but both unfortunately died in the womb. Because he came to power at such a young age, during the first few years of his reign, he was controlled by a chancellor named Ai, supported by Horemheb, Egypt's top military commander at the time. Both men reversed Akhenaten's Aten worship orders and supported traditional polytheism. Tutankhamun ordered the royal family to move back to Thebes and tried to restore the old order, hoping that the gods would once again favor Egypt. He ordered the repair of the sanctuaries and continued construction at Karnak. The red granite lion statues were also supervised by him. While foreign policy was neglected during his father Akhenaten's reign, Tutankhamun sought to restore it and succeeded. After his death, King Tutankhamun was mummified according to the religious tradition of Egypt, because they believed that the royal body should be preserved to be brought to the other world. There are many theories about the culprit who killed this great pharaoh. He had a tall but weak physique with a paralyzing bone disease in his left foot. Some argue that this is because King Tutankhamun was the child of close relatives in the Egyptian royal family. DNA tests, published in 2010, show that Tutankhamun's parents were siblings. In addition, a part of Tutankhamun's skull reveals a hole at the back of the skull. Some historians have concluded that the young king may have been assassinated, but recent tests have refuted this theory, stating that this hole was actually created during the mummification process. A CT scan image from 1995 also shows that the king suffered from a broken left leg due to infection, while DNA from the mummy reveals many signs of malaria, all of which could be the cause of his early death. Subsequently, many archaeologists continued to seek answers about Tutankhamun's death, thus opening the story of the curse of the pharaohs. Some analysts assert that the hieroglyphics on the tomb walls promise painful death to those who disturb King Tutankhamun. According to records, more than 10 people in the expedition team died mysteriously. Most opinions believe that it was due to Tutankhamun's curse. A study conducted by the British Medical Journal in 2002 found something strange. The curse seemed not to affect the local Egyptians. This, to this day, has not been clearly proven. In his archaeological expedition, Howard Carter also discovered two carefully wrapped daggers inside Tutankhamun's mummy wrap. One dagger has a gold blade, while the other has a blade made of a metal similar to iron. Each dagger has a gold sheath. Among the two types, the iron dagger, to this day, is more valuable because it is a type of iron not originating from the earth, correctly called iron from the sky. This metal is obtained from meteorites. Some other iron objects were also found in Tutankhamun's tomb, including 16 small swords, a small headrest, and an amulet. The fact is, these metal pieces were not carefully crafted. Combined with their small size, experts assert that these items were created by local craftsmen. However, the second dagger is extremely special. This is a meticulously and exquisitely crafted product. Some opinions suggest that this is an item from another land, not a product of the Egyptians. Royal historical documents also record that the knife was a gift from the king of a neighboring country, given before Tutankhamun was born. It is placed in a prominent position. Therefore, some people believe that this knife was even used in the mummification ceremony of Tutankhamun. Then, when researchers examined the golden burial mask of King Tutankhamun, they found that it was a young man with ideal features, a strong jawline, full lips, high cheekbones, and extended eyebrows. According to a report by the Daily Mail, thanks to 3D imaging, the final truth has been revealed. The body of Tutankhamun underwent a virtual autopsy with CT scanning technology, genetic analysis, and over 2,000 digital scans. Scientists spent a lot of effort recreating his face to compare with the hypothesis that he had been injured in a fatal chariot accident or was murdered. New research has shown that King Tut was born with physical abnormalities and was physically unable to participate in chariot racing. Scientists reveal that King Tut was frail, with a deformed and twisted chest. He also suffered from epilepsy, malaria, and had to walk with a cane due to a broken leg. King Tut could not possibly stand in a fast-moving chariot. The reason is still believed to come from the incestuous marriage of his parents. King Tut's tomb is located in the Valley of the Kings. It is believed that his early death required a hasty burial, so his body had to be placed in a small-scale tomb. It is very likely that this tomb was built for a lower noble. 70 days after his death, the body of Tutankhamun was laid to rest, and the tomb was sealed. There is no known documentation about King Tut afterwards, so he was almost unknown for many centuries. Even the location of the tomb was lost until 1922, when British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered the tomb, which had been sealed for over 200 years. The vast treasure trove and treasures of the tomb, intended to bring the king to the other world, revealed an astonishing amount about royal life in ancient Egypt. From then on, King Tutankhamun quickly became the world's most famous pharaoh. The artifacts from King Tut's tomb have toured the world in some prestigious museum programs, including the exhibition Treasures of Tutankhamun worldwide from 1972 to 1997. Today, the mummy of King Tut is displayed in his tomb in the Valley of the Kings in tomb KV62. His multi-layered coffins have been replaced with a special glass box. Despite thousands of years, the mystery of King Tutankhamun continues to be a question that needs to be decoded. If it is said that who built the pyramids, making us so hard to understand, then the scientific knowledge and techniques it contains are profound to the point that makes us admire immensely. However, to approach and explore the pyramids is not simple. Many scientists, out of curiosity, those who intend to peek at treasures or tomb robbers, have violated the curses of the pharaohs to the point of losing their lives. Tomb curse. The Egyptian pyramids are tombs that ancient Egyptian kings built for themselves. The pyramid is considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Most of the large and small pyramids of Egypt were built during the 3rd to 6th dynasties of Egypt. These magnificent and beautiful architectural works have gone through more than 4,000 years of change, ups and downs over time, mainly distributed around the capital Cairo, the Giza region on the west bank of the Nile. To this day, it still stands proudly, with the earth and sky attracting tourists from all over the world. The pyramid, through the long history of 4,000 years, is still shrouded in a mysterious veil, full of mystical colors, in which the curses on the tombstones are the most terrifying. Anyone who comes to disturb the peace of the pharaoh, then the scythe of death will fall on that person's head. Those curses are like myths. It warned those who are greedy in the future, wanting to peek at the priceless treasures in the tomb to prevent tomb robbery. However, strangely, for centuries now, those who dare to go into the pharaoh's tomb robbers, adventurers, or scientists, survey staff, eventually all experience the curse. If they don't die on the spot, they also contract a strange disease that cannot be cured and die in pain and suffering. The team of British archaeologist Howard Carter is a typical example. When an archaeologist during excavation knocked down the stone wall on the way into the tomb, he also died of a strange disease, similar to a neurological disorder. Another case is an X-ray expert for the pharaoh's mummy, who soon after also became a testament to that curse. He became weaker and weaker and died within 2 years after excavating that tomb. Up to 22 people in the excavation team died mysteriously for unknown reasons. From then on, news of the pharaoh's curse killing people spread widely everywhere. The curse on the tombstone makes people more confused and scared. In 1924, a British-Egyptian biologist, Mr. Waiter, took some curious people into the tomb. What scares people is that after returning from the visit, he immediately committed suicide. Before dying, he bit his finger to write a letter saying that his death was due to the curse of the pharaoh tomb. He was very regretful, so he had to take that regret to meet God. What makes people even more amazed and harder to understand is the death of the director of the Cairo Museum, Kamin Miher Raya. In the past, Kamin did not believe in the curse of the pharaoh's tomb. He confidently declared, "In my life, I have been in contact with mummies and Egyptian tombs for many years. Isn't it true that I am still living healthily?" However, less than 4 weeks after that statement, he suddenly fell ill and died. At that time, he was not yet 52 years old. Even more surprisingly, people found that on the day he died, he was still healthy, still commanding a team of workers, packing a batch of valuable artifacts, and that batch of artifacts was excavated and collected from the pharaoh's tomb. All of these things make the legend of the pharaoh even more mysterious. Then the treasures in the tomb also make people look scared, but not a few curious people want to try it out. Is it the intention of the pharaoh when he was alive? At that time, people inadvertently asked, what is the reason for those who interact with the Egyptian pharaoh pyramid to die? Are the curses on the pharaoh tombstone really effective? One view suggests that on the walls of the passages in the tomb, there is a layer of pink and grey-yellow powder, which is likely to be a layer that produces deadly radiation. It is said that it emits substances that kill people. Some other scientists have the view that the civilization of ancient Egypt has reached the level that can use extremely toxic insects or extremely toxic substances as weapons to protect the tomb from being violated by others. In recent years, some scientists have come up with the idea of using biology to explain. Mr. Isading Hode, a biologist, a professor of medicine at Cairo University in 1963, said that based on the results of his periodic experiments with archaeologists and discovery staff, all those who have entered the tomb, on their bodies all exist a germ of fever and poison. And because of the infection, these people will have respiratory inflammation and then eventually lead to suffocation and death. But why can these germs be so tenacious and vigorous in the tomb? Why can they live for 4,000 years in the mummies? Even scientists cannot explain. Until 1983, a French female doctor named Philhydro, after many years of research, concluded that the cause of death was due to hypersensitivity to harmful bacteria of the excavators. According to the disease manifestations found in these people, she explained that after the ancient Egyptian pharaohs died, they were buried with gold, silver, jewelry, clothes, and also many fruits and foods. These fruits and foods, over hundreds, thousands of years of decay, have produced toxic bacteria that are invisible to the naked eye. These bacteria cling in the tomb. When excavated, inhaling these toxins, then the lungs will get acute disease. Professor Domitian, when crawling into the tomb, just excavated to stamp the inscription. Then there are still full of toxic bacteria in it, so he was infected and died. To this day, the explanation of this female doctor is considered the most reasonable. But what exactly are the curses on the pharaoh's tombstone? This still needs further research by scientists. Even recently, scientists have discovered issues related to what is called tower energy. We don't know what that is, we can't guess. Some other scientists have proposed the hypothesis that what is called the curse of the pharaoh may come from the structure of the pyramid itself. The design structure of the tomb, as well as the path in the tomb, can produce and emit radiation, magnetic oscillations, and energy waves, or form some physical field. That is, the miraculous performance of the pyramid, which we introduced in the upper part, is being promoted. So what is right and what is wrong? Everyone has their own explanation. But to open the secret of the curses, it seems not simple. At least until now. Please share your thoughts below. Comment section. We will continue to discuss together. Thank you everyone for accompanying Facts 360 TV in today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Facts 360 TV channel. Press the notification bell to watch as soon as the next episode is available. Goodbye, see you again.